Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities across Scotland tonight. After 16 years, Oasis prepare to take to the stage in Scotland. The Gallagher brothers will kick off the first of their 3 gigs at Murrayfield tonight, with an estimated 220,000 fans expected to turn out to see them over the next few days.
I'm running on adrenaline. I'm not going to swear, but I'm buzzing, mate. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is the game changer stuff, man. Like, I've been watching Oasis all my life. That's the reason I learned guitar.
We will be live in Edinburgh for all the latest, as well as hearing from an Oasis superfan on why he's been teaching a college class on the band. Also tonight, campaigners slam UK government plans to compensate those living near new electricity pylons. The scheme would see those living in affected properties given £250 a year off their bills, but many Scots say new cabling plans risk driving down the value of homes and destroying the beauty of Scotland. Also tonight, the first extracts from Nicola Sturgeon's autobiography reveal the former First Minister's struggles with being arrested, suffering a miscarriage, and rumours about her sexuality. As always, we will have all the sport with Lewis. Lewis, what have you got for us tonight?
Well, Emmy, we'll hear from Rangers new signing Oliver Ant-Man after an impressive debut week, with head coach Russell Martin saying he's picking character over talent to strengthen his squad.
Thanks, Lewis. Hello, I'm Amy Irons and welcome to the news at 7. Now, it is a day that legions of fans thought they might have to live forever to see, but Oasis lovers can finally stop crying their hearts out, because tonight, after 16 years away, the Gallagher brothers are returning to Edinburgh's Murrayfield Stadium for the first of 3 dates set to attract more than 200,000 gig-goers. Some might say the anticipation in Auld Reekie is pretty electric.
Slept all night.
Jesus Christ. It's the first time I've seen a band that I've not been able to see before, because I was just a little bit younger before. So yes, fantastic. I can't wait.
That's what everybody around here wants.
Yeah. And we got it! Hey!
You've got one and I don't.
Have you not got one?
No, I'm not going.
You remember my numbers, didn't you?
No. Oasis! Worth every penny?
Hopefully, yeah.
We'll see.
Brilliant. I would love my kids to be here, but getting the tickets was a nightmare, as you know. Lucky to get tickets, but the nostalgia, the atmosphere, the buzz around the place, it's absolutely spot on.
I'm running on adrenaline. I'm not going to swear, but I'm buzzing, mate. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is the game changer stuff, man. Like, I've been watching Oasis all my life. That's the reason I learned guitar.
So I became friends with Carmen about 10 years ago, and I always seen a spark in him, and I thought one day he's going to get me into the Oasis thing. And it's come to fruition.
Well, in a moment we will speak to Chris, an Oasis superfan who even held a special college masterclass ahead of the gig. But first, let's go live to Murrayfield, where our reporter Stephen Godden is presumably trying very hard to get himself a ticket, I'm going to guess. Stephen, what is the atmosphere like? What have we got, about an hour to go now before Oasis take to the stage?
Yeah, something like that. I don't have a ticket, I should say, first and foremost. You heard there the excitement, the anticipation that's been building here throughout the day. In the last hour or so, that anticipation has turned into a sense of purpose. Where I'm standing at the moment would normally be a main road, cars going through. It's closed, and it's now one of the main thoroughfares up to the stadium there. You can see people making their way up there. Around half an hour or so ago, this street was absolutely full, but the numbers have thinned out because, as you can maybe hear in the background, the support acts are on, and I think we're expecting Oasis on stage around 8:15, so not far away now. The bucket hats making their way along here. That's one of the aspects of this gig. I mean, the merchandising has been incredible, an incredible money spinner for the band, an incredible money spinner for Edinburgh as well. It's estimated that over the course of these 3 concerts, which will attract 70,000 fans to each of those gigs, the city is going to generate around £130 million for the local economy. So that is important to the city, but what really matters for these people here is that they've got a ticket, they're going to get inside there, and that we're not far away from Oasis taking to the stage.
Yes, a day that many fans didn't think they would see. Stephen Godden at Murrayfield, thank you so much. Well, Christopher Kennedy is an Oasis fan and a lecturer at Glasgow Clyde College, where he set up a one-off Oasis masterclass ahead of the reunion tour. And he is with us now. Chris, first things first, have you got a ticket? I mean, I'm guessing not for tonight, but maybe tomorrow or Tuesday?
Tuesday. I'm going with my wife on Tuesday and cannot wait.
How many times have you seen them?
I saw Oasis around 40 times between 1994 and 2009, and then maybe about 30 of the post-Oasis projects, so about 70 Oasis and Oasis-related gigs all in. Yep.
That's quite incredible, Chris. I'm going to guess not many people have seen them as many times as that. The response has been huge, hasn't it? Why do you think that is? Is it just because people have had to wait so long?
Yeah, I think you've got a brand new generation who obviously have never seen the band because they've never had the opportunity to see the band. Well, you have really 3 generations of sort of fans, people like myself who've been waiting for this day, and the kind of newer generations. So everything just sort of coming together and everyone just wanting a piece of this action. So yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Because we've seen generally a resurgence in Britpop, haven't we? It's come at a good time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good parenting going on. Parents like myself bringing their kids up on Oasis and on 90s music in general. But I think a lot of the younger generation are also appreciating that music then was great. There were some great bands and there were some great things happening, and they want a piece of that for themselves.
And tell us, Chris, just exactly what an Oasis masterclass actually consists of. I'm going to guess bucket hats, parka jackets. Everybody has to turn up, and you listen to a lot of Oasis tracks. But there'll be much more to it than that.
Plenty of bucket hats. We basically told the story of Oasis from 1991 through to 2009, using the albums and the tours and all the sort of iconic moments as the kind of main reference points, and obviously spending a lot of time on the mid-90s and the sort of heyday and Britpop and Britrock and Cool Britannia, etc. But then we looked at the post-Oasis projects and we looked at how it all fell apart. And then how it all came back together. And also, a lot of it was aimed towards the younger generation, and there were lots of kids and teenagers there. Getting across to them, a lot of information that they don't know. They know the songs, but maybe not the story. And also getting across to them what to expect if they are lucky enough to be going to see them for the first time over this weekend.
I know, as you said, there'll be a lot of people, a whole new generation going probably for the first time. Before we let you go, Chris, if you had to pick one song that you're most looking forward to, or hoping that they'll perform on Tuesday, what would it be?
My favourite Oasis song has always been Live Forever for a whole variety of reasons. So that's the one that will probably have me crying at Murrayfield on Tuesday. Yeah.
Oh, well, you enjoy that when it comes. Happy tears. Chris Kennedy, thank you so much for giving us your time on the programme. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Now, some other news to bring you, and the Times newspaper has just published an extract of the much-anticipated autobiography of the former First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon. In it, she talks about the day the police first knocked on the door in their investigation into SNP finances, and also about when she herself was arrested. Well, our reporter Katrina Renton is here. Katrina, I know this has just happened within the last hour. What does this article tell us?
Well, I've been speed reading this excerpt that's been published in the Times this evening, and it's from Nicola Sturgeon's long-awaited autobiography called Frankly. It's due to be published next week on the 14th of August, but as we said, the Times have got this exclusive excerpt this evening. Now, the piece is entitled Nicola Sturgeon, My Miscarriage, Sexuality and the Day I Was Arrested. And the Times say that in the new book, the former First Minister speaks openly about some of the hardest moments of her life. Now, the article runs runs an excerpt about the 5th of April 2023 when she was woken up at 7 o'clock in the morning. She said she was half asleep. Her husband, Peter Murrow, had gone to answer the door. And she said it was with a sense of utter disbelief that she realised the police were in her home, that they had a warrant to arrest her husband and search the house. She said over the coming days and weeks, she felt like she'd fallen into the plot of a dystopian novel. Now, she says on Sunday, the 11th of June, that was the day she was arrested and questioned by the police. That was the worst day of her life and was an experience that she's not sure she will ever get over. She told how she was in a bad state mentally and went to stay with a friend in the northeast of Scotland for a week, terrified that the media would find her. Now, she goes on to recount her day of, as she calls it, exoneration, the 20th of March 2025. Her husband, of course, appeared in court that day, but she was told she would face no further action and said the feeling of relief was overwhelming.
And Katrina, what other subjects are covered in the extract that you've seen?
Well, she talks about the miscarriage that she had and how she found out that she was losing her baby and how much she realised then that she wanted a family. She said she always believed her and her husband's baby would have been a girl called Isla. She said she deeply regrets not getting the chance to be Isla's mum and knows she will mourn her for the rest of her life. She also talks about rumours on social media that she had a secret relationship with a woman and it was being openly talked about. Her family, her friends, her colleagues and her neighbours were being asked about it. Now, she said in the excerpt that she has had long-term relationships with men for over 30 years of her life, but has never considered sexuality, her own included, to be binary. Moreover, she said sexual relationships should be private matters. Now, something else the former First Minister talks about is one of her proudest achievements that she says is passing her driving test in 2023 at the age of 53.
Katrina Renton, thank you very much for taking us through that. Now, the UK government is pressing ahead with plans to compensate people living close to electricity pylons with a discount on their energy bills. As Nicola Nicholson reports, many Scots say new cabling commitments put the beauty of their surroundings and the value of their homes on the wire.
A blot on the landscape or an electricity lifeline. Whatever your take on pylons, many more of them are on the horizon as suppliers ramp up efforts to connect clean energy projects to the grid and upgrade an ageing infrastructure. Billions of pounds are being invested in hundreds of miles of cables across Scotland, and now the UK government has moved forward with plans to make pylons more palatable to those who live near them. A £250 discount from energy bills every year for the next decade for households within 500 metres of these steel steeples.
The idea here is that, if the community hosts a pylon, that they will get a bill discount so that they get a direct benefit and stake in the infrastructure that we absolutely need as a country in order to ensure that we have an energy system that is fit for the future.
Pylons are controversial no matter where they're erected, but almost 100 miles of cabling between the north of Skye and Fort Augustus has sparked particular ire from those who'll have to live alongside it. They say the compensation doesn't come close to covering the impact.
That's a derisory amount to offer people for the amount of impact that having a pylon near your home would have. £250 a year, less than £5 a week, less just about the price of one cup of coffee at today's prices. It's nothing compared to the impact that having this huge energy infrastructure on your doorstep would have, or the impact that it would have on the value of people's homes.
The UK is preparing to build twice as much grid infrastructure in the next 5 years as it's done in the last decade. Those in the path of the pylons say Holyrood and Westminster need to keep communities at the heart of deciding how the country's connected. Nicola Nicholson, reporting Scotland.
Let's get round up of the stories making the BBC News app in Scotland today. And a young footballer who lost his lower legs in a crash says he will never forgive the drink driver at the wheel. 18-year-old Adam Golbieski had been a passenger in Adam Patterson's car in Macduff, Aberdeenshire in September last year. 19-year-old Patterson admitted dangerous driving, being over the drink drive limit and driving without insurance at Aberdeen Sheriff Court today. Keir Starmer has rejected calls for a judge-led inquiry into an RAF Chinook helicopter crash in 1994. In a letter to the families, he said a public inquiry would not be in the public interest. And live shotgun cartridges have been found among items dumped in an Aberdeenshire recycling centre. The council said it was lucky the cartridges were spotted and removed safely because they had posed a potentially dangerous situation. Well, for more information on all of these stories and many more, you can just scan that QR code on your screen and it will take you straight to the BBC Scotland News app. A new BBC podcast series released this morning will delve into the story of the notorious matriarch Big Mags Haney. Crime Next Door, the ballad of Big Mags, charts the rise and fall of Scotland's celebrity vigilante, who was later exposed as the boss of a drug dealing operation in Stirling. Earlier, I spoke to Miles Bonner, who's behind the podcast, to find out more.
After she had led a mob that drove out a convicted paedophile from the Raploch estate, newspapers, TV, radio, they just couldn't get enough of her. And there was a point where she went on Kilroy, I don't know if you remember Kilroy, but it was a daytime TV show, loads of viewers, and she went on there to discuss this apparent paedophile problem in the UK and what do we do with them. And she was quite aggressive. She was arguing with the host, Robert Kilroy Silk. She was debating with guests, and there was even 2 convicted sex offenders in the audience who had disguises on, invited on. She gives them a piece of her mind as well, and then it just skyrockets her profile after that.
So her profile is through the roof at that point. What ultimately led to her downfall?
Well, it was in 2 stages, actually. I mean, first of all, the press had cottoned on to her family's criminal record. They were notorious in Stirling for fraud, theft, various other convictions, and Mags had convictions of her own. So the press started to kind of report on that, the Daily Record mainly, and a mob actually was formed to drive the Haneys out of the Raploch. And it was a bigger mob than what she'd managed to, garner for the eviction of this paedophile. So 400-strong mob remove her from her own estate, and then she's housed along with other members of her family further into Stirling. And then a few years later, that's when her downfall really takes hold. The Daily Record, again, they do a shop a dealer campaign, which allowed people to phone in and grass on their local heroin dealer. And Mags was top of the list. They splashed her face in the front page. The police investigated her, and she got hit with 12 years in prison.
So that was, because it was over a decade ago since she died. Mm-hmm. And you've obviously got the podcast, which has just been released today. What have you managed to then uncover since you've started looking into her past?
Well, I suppose that when we started on this, we thought maybe this will just be a retelling of what everyone already knows. But as I often find with these things, speaking to people, when something's happened decades ago or a decade ago, it's much easier to talk to police, the journalists, locals, even family members. Our granddaughter spoke as part of the podcast. And from speaking to the police, one police officer who investigated her case, Simon McLean, he had made the claim that she was a police informant, which we hadn't heard before. So we ran that by another police source who confirmed it. So it gave us, a news line, I suppose, something that was fresh, which we didn't know before we kind of set off on this kind of podcast record.
Well, personally, I can't wait to binge and listen to this podcast. So thank you so much, Miles, for joining us in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
And you can listen to the whole series on BBC Sounds. All episodes of Crime Next Door, the ballad of Big Mags, are available now. Still to come, we will get the weather with Chris, and we meet the group in Newton Moor who featured in Outlander. But before all of that, it is sport time with Lewis.
Thanks very much, Amy. Hello there. Rangers head coach Russell Martin says his philosophy of acquiring character over talent was a key reason why they signed this man, Oliver Antman, who's already made an impression with the fans after joining from Dutch side Go Ahead Eagles this week. The 24-year-old made his first start in Tuesday's Champions League qualifier against Victoria Pilsen and was instrumental in Rangers' 3-0 win. The Finnish winger says he wants to keep up the performances, especially in Europe.
That's exactly what I wanna do. Is create a lot of chances, make a lot of crosses, take defenders on, and just create a lot. That's what I did in Holland, and that's what I want to do in here. So more of that. European games are was a big reason why I wanted to come here, and possible Champions League matches. So for sure, and to straight away playing Champions League qualifiers was a big thing for me.
He's a really confident boy, but in a really nice way, and I think you need that here. So I expect him to have the same. There's been you can't have a time for then a dip. You need to carry on now. He really set a standard early on that he needs to maintain. It's the same for a lot of the guys, and we need to push them and make sure they keep doing it.
And yes, plenty of games this weekend with the Premiership back in full swing indeed. Rangers have tomorrow's late kick-off there against Dundee. We've just lost it there, unfortunately. But Livingston, Falkirk and Motherwell and St Mirren are all playing on Saturday as well. 3 more games on Sunday. Here we are. Hearts are taking on Dundee United and Hibs are hoping they can stay top of the league. Celtic are also joint top. Aberdeen manager Jimmy Tilleen is hoping his side can repeat their Scottish Cup victory over last season's champions.
We know how Celtic plays and we want to grow in our part, so I think it's going to be a quite high intensity game. This league is really competitive, so every game you have to arrive to a certain level of energy and effort to deserve a victory. And then we know Celtic's qualities and the capacity, so we have to be at our best to get the result we want.
Now, there were a couple of great results in Europe last night for these men. Dundee United and Hibernian playing the first legs of their Conference League qualification ties. United came from behind twice to draw with Rapid Vienna in the Austrian capital. Summer signings Max Waters and Zach Sapsford both scored as Jim Goodwin's side held their own against one of last season's quarter-finalists. And it was a dream night for Martin Boyle, who says he has his dad to thank for finally scoring his 100th goal for Hibs. His brace gave the visitors a 2-0 lead against Partizan Belgrade in Serbia before next week's second leg at Easter Road.
That's a special one, yeah. Obviously I wanted it over and done with so I can kind of relax. My dad phoned me the other day and he thought I was trying too hard, and I probably was, just trying to chase it. So he told me to just play with a smile on my face like I always do and enjoy it. And thankfully I went out there tonight, so luckily I had him in my ear.
That's half a job done. We're not going to get carried away with ourselves. I think we've shown that we belong here and we can match teams, you know, that historically are very good. But we're not going to get carried away. We just need to kind of put in a similar performance Thursday, and hopefully we come away with a positive result and get through the leg.
Golf now in plenty to bring you. Bob McIntyre is in action at the PGA Championship, but here in Scotland, Grant Forrest is the clubhouse leader after the second round at the DP World Tour event at Trump International Links in Aberdeenshire. He hit 7 birdies, including this one on the 10th. He's now 7 under for the tournament going into the weekend. And yes, Amy, as I mentioned, Bob McIntyre, he's at 3 under just now in the PGA Championship event there, so he's going well to get into that Ryder Cup team later in the year.
We always have to keep an eye on Bob.
We do.
Completing the programme for me. Thanks very much, Lewis. Now, over 11 years, there have been 8 seasons of Outlander, and now a new prequel to the hit show called Blood of My Blood will hit our screens this weekend. Over the years, the series has given a boost to tourism, and the Outlander effect is something the Badenoch Walking Group are well aware of. The group, who featured in the original series, demonstrate walking, the traditional method of finishing newly woven tweed by hand, to visitors at the Highland Folk Museum in Newton Moor. Well, they're celebrating their 30th anniversary, and our reporter Chris McLennan caught up with them to find out more.
Well, Outlander fans might be familiar with this village behind me here. 10 years ago, it was part of the filming for the first series of the very popular TV series that has spanned across the Atlantic. There's a big American following. Now, included in that first series, we had some people involved here. Now, we've got the Badenoch Walking Group who join us here, and they featured in the very first series of Outlander. Now, they are currently performing here just now, so I'm just going to speak to a few of them. Just tell us a little bit about what it is that you're doing here.
Well, we're just the cloth has been shrunken, and so we're just straightening it out, folding it over, and just generally making sure it's gone the right way.
Fantastic. Well, we'll let you get on with the performance, ladies, but just talk to us a bit about, you were involved in the filming of Outlander here. What was that like?
It was an amazing experience, actually. Yes, it was a very long day, hanging around an awful lot of the time, but it was nice to meet all the other people that were taking part as well. And, as I say, promoting the language, which is so important.
Yeah, and it's had a real boost. It's attracted a lot of visitors. What's the difference that we're seeing now in terms of people coming and visiting?
We're seeing more visitors and more visitors from abroad. And we're also seeing Outlander groups from all over coming to hear us. And yes, so definitely it has had an effect.
Great. And we're celebrating 10 years since Outlander filmed here, but your walking group here is also celebrating 30 years. 30 years. How important is it for you to keep traditions like this alive?
Very, very important. I mean, we're always recruiting more to come into the group just to keep it going. Very important. I mean, Yeah, it's got to be kept going. Like I said before, if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. And it's got to be introduced to the younger generation.
Well, ladies, we've held you up long enough. We'll let you get back to the performance there. Now, Visit Scotland tell us that there's a lasting impact on tourism in Scotland thanks to the Outlander effect. And you can see here in Newton Moor today that this tradition is alive and kicking.
Chris McLennan there for us. Well, it's over to another Chris now to find out how the weather is looking. And I think everybody will be wondering if they're heading to Murrayfield, certainly, over the next few days, if they're going to need the bucket hats, really, or is it going to be dry?
Well, do you ever need a bucket hat? Probably not.
A hood and a brolly's probably.
I think it'll be dry, actually.
OK, that's good, that's good.
But let's take a look at some pictures,
yes,
shall we?
that.
Come with me. We've had a lot of cloud around today, and it was quite windy, wasn't it? Certainly across parts of the northwest. The sun is breaking through now, so that cloud slowly dissipating and a bit more sunshine around tomorrow as well. Let's take a look at what's happening over the next few days, because you can see on the pressure sequence we've got low pressure situated towards the north, and that pulls away, allowing high pressure to arrive on Sunday, so that's a quieter spell, and then rain returning as we go in towards Monday. In fact, there's a lot of rain on the way overnight tonight. Quite a heavy band of rain working southwards, and it's still with us first thing tomorrow from sort of Ayrshire towards parts of Perth and Dundee. That is a cold front moving southwards, so it could be quite wet in some parts of the central lowlands first thing. Towards the west and northwest, it's windy with fairly frequent showers, and those winds will be strong to gale force throughout the course of the day. So watch what happens as we go through Saturday. That band of rain in the south clears, and then much of the country for much of the afternoon bright and breezy with showers in the far north. Those showers heavy, the odd rumble of thunder. And then tomorrow evening, the showers fading away, the winds easing down because that area of high pressure I mentioned moves in. Now, as we've been hearing, Oasis are on tonight. They're also on tomorrow night. And the forecast for tomorrow, as Amy suggested, doesn't look too bad, largely dry with some sunshine. And you can see on the chart for Sunday, there's that area of high pressure, keeping that rain at bay during the daytime. So it is largely dry. There'll be a little bit of early mist and fog, that should lift, and then through the day, variable clouds, sunny skies, and the chance of 1 or 2 light showers in the north, but nowhere near the wind strength that we will have seen today and tomorrow. Temperatures up a notch, 17 to 22 Celsius. And then the rain arrives as we go in towards Monday and Tuesday, lifting northwards and a tangle of weather fronts. So it looks fairly complex there, but actually we've got some warm air arriving from the south. So not quite the really high temperatures they're seeing down south, not a heat wave for us, but certainly it's going to be on the warm side with a few showers. A similar picture really as we head through towards Tuesday as well. Take a look at the temperatures down south. It's going to be a scorcher for them, 30 degrees for us, 20 to 24 Celsius. Bit of sunshine, 1 or 2 showers, so not too bad. There's the outlook. You can see a lot of dry and sunny weather in the forecast. A few showers too. That's the forecast.
I've picked a good week to be off then,
You have
Chris.
indeed.
Some sunshine, but not too hot. That sounds very good. Thanks as always, Christopher. And thanks to you for joining us on the news at 7 this evening. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest on the BBC News app. And stay tuned because we do have live championship coverage coming up. Ross County against St Johnstone is next. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.